Okay, we're going to have a run round Erin Hills, front nine. I've got a Bridgestone level 0, so it's not got a lot of action on it. So with this tee shot, in my notes, I've got several things towards the bottom of the screen there. I can see that if I've got a wind behind, where it says it carries, it means that it will carry into here. This is the perfect area to get your tee shot into, but you can only do it. You can see it's quite a way, but you can only do it if you've got a decent wind behind. So know what your carry is and where it will get you. If you've got any wind against, just play it safe and go in here. So we've got a good wind behind, so we're going to stick it into the ideal spot.
That's a huge drive.
So that's going to give me the opportunity to get quite close to the green with my second shot. Again, I've got a note which says, I think probably it's a second shot, an 8 to 10 neutral wind. See at the end of that writing, will carry 245. So if I've got crosswind, I know that I can carry 245 with my second shot. So I know I can get to here. Now the fact that I've got that wind behind means I can give it a go at getting on the green in 2. Oh, well, it's short, but at least it's close. If you haven't got a tailwind, you've got to play it safe and go up the fairway. So 28 tailwind, so my usual calculation, because I use backspin, is to add 6. So it'd be 28 plus 6 is 34, but because I've got the tailwind, I'm going to take 1 off it. I'm also in the rough, so I'm going to go to 33 with a full shot. I tend to play full shots on anything up to 50, between 14 and 50. So what do we say, 33? Oof. That would have been a nice start. Oh, we're on 13 greens. Wonderful. Probably why it ran on a little bit more than I would have liked it to, but thankfully the pin was there. So second hole, I've got a wind against us, so I'm not going to be able to carry the knuckle. Ideally, if you've got wind behind, you can sometimes get it over this. It'll hit the downslope, go onto the green. And again, I've got notes there that show that if I've got a wind behind me at those speeds, I can get over that knuckle, particularly if I've got a premium ball. But I'm not going to get over the knuckle today, so I've just got to play safe, stick it in the middle of the green, and then we'll tackle the second shot.
Good ball.
Okay, so normally with that wind I'd probably add about 8 to this shot, but I always find this whole play short, so I'm only going to go 99 because I don't want to be long. So boom boom, so hopefully I'm not too long, but yeah, that's fine. I could have gone 100, would have been a good shot, but there's always a risk it would go too long. So 13 greens, which I really don't like. Just going to bash this one in. Hitting it harder than it needs, but hopefully it'll stay straight, which it does. So this one's an interesting one. Again, all you can do is play it safely onto the fairway to start with.
Oh, you crushed it.
The thing on this green, and I don't like, it's much better if you've got a headwind, a wind into your face. So on this green, you've got this ridge here, as you'll all know, and the last thing you want to do is go up here. So certainly if I've got a wind behind me, I'll play short, and ideally you want it to run, you want it to come up here or up here, because in both cases it will feed back down to the hole. So I'm going to go there. Now it's 188 uphill 12, so that would normally add three times 12. I would normally, or three times 12 divided by 10. So that would normally be 3 that I would add on there, 190. But because we've got a tailwind and because I don't want to go long, I'm going to leave it at about 187. Plenty of backspin. It may be short, but short is better than long. Again, no boom boom, but I'm hoping we're not going to be long. Well, we are going to be long. So that's not what you want to do. So I'm lucky there that I've run off. Well, I say I'm lucky, but this is going to be a hell of a shot. So I don't normally use a flop shot, but there's not much choice here. So I'm going to go flop. $16 is not going to get me far enough. It's wind against, so 26 might be okay. I always find on flop shots that they always go right, unless you offset it with a ding. So we always aim a lot further left. Got a wind against, I'm going to go about 24 because it will roll down. So
On the dance
that's
floor.
why you don't go long on this hole. Better to go short, particularly if you're not, if you're not confident of flop shots or anything. Then leave it well short, because a pitch up is going to get you up and down in 2, whereas from the back of the green you might struggle and you might end up having to take 3 shots, which I may well do here, but let's see what happens. So 12 on 13 green is going to be about 9.5. I'm going to hit it harder than I think, because that helps keep it straight. And we managed to save our birdie, which our par. So this is a tricky hole from the second shot. So the first shot, you're very rarely, certainly off the champion tees, you're very rarely going to make that bunker even with a tailwind. So just get it up as far as you can without going into the bunker.
That's a huge drive.
Now this green is tricky. It feeds down left to right, and you certainly don't want to be above the hole. The ideal place to leave this shot is in this area here. So we've got uphill, so the uphill 9 foot adds a couple of yards to it, so that would be 102, but we've got a tailwind, so I'm going to go 99 with a lot of backspin. As I say, you don't want to be above it, but you can afford to take a chance to get close to it. So we're going to go 99. I think this will probably be long. No boom boom, but we're going to be on the right side of the pin. That's not the worst place to be. You can get it pin high below the hole there. You've at least got a chance of a birdie putt. Always look at it from the reverse, because I find the reverse tells you, if you run your, certainly your cursor on mobile, you can see how they're breaking. So it's a sort of a double breaker. So 10 on 13 greens, about 7. Add 4, 11. Again, hit it just a little bit harder than.
Great roll.
So this is a nice tailwind on this one. So again, just get it up there as far as you can, close to the hole. Now I always find that this one plays a little bit shorter, especially if you've got a tailwind. So normally it would be 206, and normally I would take off probably 4%. My calculation for tailwinds is divide by 5 and then times by 2%. So here you've got divide by 5 would be 2, times 2% is 4. So I'm going to take 4% off for the wind. So that would be 198, and then I'm going to take a couple more off because I always think this hole plays shorter. So we're going to go 195. Okay, well that's, again, I'd rather be below the hole than above the hole. So again, we're 12 foot, 12 on 13 is a 9 plus a half. So I'm going to go 10 to make sure it gets up there and holds the line a bit better than it might otherwise do. I suspect I'm going to miss this on that side, which should have known, but you can't sink them all. So first par 3, and again, if you've got a notebook, I suggest you take some notes. I've got loads of notes here. So we've got and all the figures in brackets are like clock face. That's how I keep my notes. And there's always one figure in there, and you see it right at the bottom of that screen, which is neutral. So if the wind is a crosswind, I know not on that one I don't, because I haven't put a number. But I will have a neutral figure for all of my par 3s, with the exception of this one. But I can see here I've got, what have we got? We've got 10 to 12 behind. In my notes, I haven't got anything immediately behind, but I have got a 5 past 1, 9 to 12, 9 to 11, 214. So this wind's slightly stronger, so, and it's directly behind, so I'm going to go 210. I don't feel 210 is going to get there, but let's see what happens. Oh, well, maybe it is. Maybe my notes are correct. So as I say, if you've got a notebook, then every time you play this hole, put something down that you understand in terms of the distance, because it will come in handy, particularly that neutral one. So again, if you've got the wind, a crosswind, make sure you know how far you've got to hit it if it's just a neutral wind, and then you've just got to adjust it whether the wind's against or behind you. So 5, I tend to hit anything under 5. I usually go the distance, so I think it's about 4 and a bit. But again, if I hit it a little bit harder and just miss the ding, it keeps it reasonably straight. So second par 5, again, I've got a nice tailwind, so just get it up there as far as you can. Now normally, I'd probably, with this tailwind, I would go up here, but the safe option is to go in here. Keep away from this bunker, because you're going to be in trouble if you get in this bunker. So keep it safe, stick it over here. No need to take risks. It's a par 5, it's reachable in 3. So keep it safe, make sure you're in 3. If you get in the bunker, you're going to be struggling, so keep it safe, no need to take any chances. So I have got some figures there. None of them are really going to help. A neutral wind, it needs to add 6 from 40, so that's about the only helpful one there. So normally if it's 6 with a crosswind, I've got a tailwind here, so I'm probably only going to add 4, so that'll be 46. Right distance, I just over-judged how much it was going to move, which is something I do regularly. Okay. It's a tricky putt, downhill, fairly short, it's going to move a lot, so I'm going to offset it with a missed ding. So 7, I would say, is 6, take off the 1 is 5, so I missed the ding early.
Solid putt. Just
take some of the break out of it if you miss the ding. So this is a tricky hole if you've got a headwind, because anything you leave short down here is going to give you a problem. So ideally you want to get it up onto the crest of this hill, but it's very wind dependent. Okay, we got up to the crest of the hill, which is good. Okay, the second shot's a real tricky one. You don't really want to go in this bunker. I mean, you really don't want to go into the brush at the front of the bunker. So the safest shot here, again, if you can reach, is really just to go long. So what I tend to do is I tend to do my normal calculation, so it'll be 209, slightly uphill, so you can add a couple on 211. I've got a slight headwind, so I'm going to go all the way up to 220 to be sure that I get onto the green. Now the pros will go right up here because it will roll back down, but I don't subscribe to that, because if you get stuck up the back of the green, then you've got a difficult shot. So I'm going to go 220, a grid square and a half for the wind, half backspin, and now I'm looking at it again and I'm thinking, well, 220 is maybe not enough because of that headwind. So I'm going to go a little bit more than 220, about 222, because I just want to make sure I'm on the green. I don't want to be in that front bunker. Yeah, see, I only just carried it, even with that. So I would say, you know, look at adding maybe 10 to your normal calculation to make sure you get in that green. However, if you do end up in that bunker, you can see there that if you're in the front bunker, then your calculation, whether it's 30 or 40% sand or 40 or 50% sand, is 2.1 times the distance. So if it's 10, you're going to need to hit it 21 to get it out the bunker. So you might want to take a note of that. If you are in that front bunker, put it in your notebook. You need to go 2.1 times the distance to get it out of the bunker. Okay. Now the other thing about this one is it is quite a long way downhill. So that comes from it purely from experience of knowing that I need to take a yard off, at least 1 foot off my calculation for this, because it's a fast downhill putt, particularly on 13s. So 33 is 23. So take the 1.6 off is 21. I'm going to go 20 because I know that it's a big downhill. So hopefully 20. I'll end up fairly close. I'm not expecting to make this as a birdie. You don't want to go past it because it all runs away. You can see it's all downhill from there. So leaving it short is better than going long, particularly if you're on quick greens. Oh, well, they are. That spoilt a good front nine. Okay, another par 3, and this is an odd one. I think if you've got a neutral wind, it's 161. I treat the elevation as 12 only, because it's one of those holes that doesn't play to its distance. So if I've got a crosswind, it's 161. If I've got a headwind, I'm going to go the full distance, and I'm still probably going to be short. But again, it's a hole to start keeping notes. I mean, I've got an 8 to 10 headwind there as 164. So yeah, I think 165. I mean, the normal calculation on this, would be to take off about almost 9, 8 or 9, and then add back on for the headwind. But it's a hole that you need to get a feel for. If it's a crosswind, my neutral calculation is 165. So I'm just going to go 165. Possibly going to be short. There, that was long. That's the trouble with this hole. It is a little bit hit and miss. It's not the most terrible putt. Uphill, 13 on 13 greens is 9.5. Add the 1.4, 9.5, 10.5, 11. Add a little bit extra on. I'll probably try and miss the ding. Didn't make it, so it was a bigger break than I thought. So that's the front 9 at Erin Hills. It's scoreable. If you can come away at -3 off the front 9, you've done well. The back 9 is, I think, easier of the two. Thank you for watching.